Hey everybody, Jason Burmis here, and it's wearechange.org time, folks. Because today, I saw this story late night last night, and I was wondering how it was going to be spun, not in the mainstream media, because I knew how it would play in the mainstream media, but how it's going to be spun in the alternative media that are basically Trump worshipers. So what story am I talking about? Well, the mainstream media, Daily Mail, I know it's very tabloidy, but first of all, our media is not covering this in the United States very heavily. But look at this headline. Tell me how to hit Amazon, Facebook, Apple, and Google. And he's talking to Peter Thiel. Now, for those that don't know who Peter Thiel is, Peter Thiel, number one, is Trump's technology advisor. He is the man who created PayPal with Elon Musk. He also is really one of the people that brought Facebook to the forefront, okay, through the connection of Sean Parker. And basically Sean Parker was the guy that hooked up with Zuckerberg, worked all of his friends out, and then contacted Peter Thiel. And just so you know how Sean Parker categorized how Peter Thiel works, he talked about dirty tricks. Dirty tricks. Now, Peter Thiel did dump a bit of his stocks about 4 months ago. I think 73% of what he had in Facebook, but that's probably because he knew what was coming. You know, the Cambridge Analytica scandal, the fact that they were trying to blame Facebook ads for this non-Russian scandal. Thiel's a smart guy. I'm not saying he's not. But what no one wants to talk about, and something that kind of got to me over the summer when I went to D.C. And hooked up with Luke and really spawned this out of that, was that Peter Thiel sits on the board of Bilderberg. He is a board member. That's huge. That means he is an elitist of about 25 people that meet with another 100 plus of the most powerful people in the world and really does help shape policy everywhere. So that headline there, that's being spun everywhere in the alternative media. Oh, he's taking on Facebook. He's gonna regulate YouTube. Is he? He's heavily invested in this stuff. He wants a narrative just like everybody else. He's very much a globalist, a smart one at that, but he's Peter Thiel. So people selling you otherwise, you really need to wonder why. You know, we're going to get into some other Trump backpedaling and some of the things we need to be watching, but go check out this article, read this small article here, because what they're also not telling you about this bad boy is that he's having dinner with Amazon cloud rival Oracle. Now, the reason that this is important is obviously Trump has talked about Bezos being, above the law, not paying taxes, having to be regulated. And he's spoken out against Bezos quite a few times. Now, maybe he's looking at his options. I'd be surprised if he wasn't. That doesn't necessarily mean this is a good thing. But remember, Bezos and his cloud storage company made a huge deal with the CIA. Okay? And remember, Bezos also purchased the Washington Post. So now Bezos is in bed with just about every kind of commercial aspect that we could imagine. And he's involved with the CIA, a major intelligence service. And he owns a highly, quote-unquote, respected newspaper. All right? So you'd think that Bezos was 100% the enemy. But as we covered yesterday, please check it out. If you're watching this video, you didn't watch yesterday's video on the backup channel, is that the Washington Post, as soon as Trump, last Thursday, 6 days ago, Mr. Trump, and remember you ran on this. You said we're going to get out of these entanglements. We're going to get out of Syria. Okay? And guess what? Thursday, he said, we're leaving Syria really soon. And myself, very skeptical, but I reported on it. I said, hey, this is something the media is kind of keeping silent, and obviously, again, you'd think that the left would be cheering. Yay, we're going to get out of Syria. You know, remember when the left was against war? Well, I guess not under the Barack Obama administration. And I guess the right has never been against. So this is kind of like almost a, a wet dream for the military-industrial complex, because the Washington Post writes an article. If you want to read that article, it's actually posted over at the We Are Change Facebook page. Okay, you can scroll down, check that out, where it says, Trump says we're leaving Syria really soon. Bad idea. Bad idea? I think it's an amazing idea, and we need to get out, but guess what? If you're going to tell me that there's no influence out there, well, just today, Trump agrees to keep U.S. troops in Syria for an undetermined period of time to defeat ISIS. Those boogeymen with kitchen knives that replaced the other boogeymen, Al-Qaeda? Ooh. Come on, man. And now, actually, they are fighting sects of Al-Qaeda. It's the craziest thing ever. Al-Qaeda is now openly, Al-Nusra, whatever you want to call it, affiliates, whatever. They're allies of the United States. Huh? Wait, they were allies before 9/11 too, in that Russian conflict where bin Laden went by the code name Tim Osman as his CIA handle, and we gave him arms, and we helped uplift him with the help of the Pakistani military. But we can't talk about that, can we? If you want to see that, and a ton of other things that should make you question 9/11 if you already haven't, or if you're new to this information, please go watch Fabled Enemies, free online, free over on YouTube. Go check it out. Disprove me. I've never had anybody look at the information in that film and be like, well, that's a lie, Jason. No, it's not, and this is how it works. All right? He said he's leaving. He ain't leaving. He's sticking around. And ISIS is not the goal. It's always been to put a U.S. globalist-friendly dictator into that region. They didn't like, that Putin had a buddy that was taking the nation from a second world nation to almost a first world nation. It was secular. It was getting out of the banking system that they had been entrenched in globally. In fact, it did get out. It was a part of the BRICS nations. And boy, that amped it up right there. Couldn't have that. Couldn't have that. We've covered that before. And we are going to keep going with the news here. I want to talk about some crazy stuff that happened yesterday. We went live with this YouTube shooting, and what are the implications going to be? Well, that's a great question, okay? Because yesterday the story was upset girlfriend. She goes out to the headquarters, shoots her boyfriend, and then from the eyewitness accounts we could make out that it looked like at least one other person had died in the courtyard, and we knew that 4 people were injured. Those were all mainline accounts, all out there. I wake up today, and the narrative has completely changed. She didn't know anybody that worked there. She's an angry YouTuber that felt like they were stealing from her. And honestly, the upsetting part about this is a lot of these complaints that are being put out there by her in the mainstream media. And I don't know how much of this is true. I've seen some pictures of her that are apparently her protesting. Most of her videos, obviously, I can't translate, so unless I have a translator next to me, I'm not going to judge those. And there's some English ones I have not seen yet. Okay, but the idea that she felt like, people are looking at this almost like a disgruntled employee. She couldn't make her money, and then she drove out there. Apparently her father called the police and said he thought she was on her way there. And again, don't quote me on this one, but I believe some of the accounts I've read, she was 400 miles away. That's a trip, folks. That's a little bit of a drive, ski, and hutch to go do something insane like this. But obviously, if she did do this, and I'm not saying she didn't by any means. I haven't seen any evidence to the contrary as far as I'm concerned. We've had these things happen in the past. She used a handgun. Okay, so this isn't an AR-15 moment, but it's going to start opening up the debate of what YouTube is going to allow at all. And they've already curtailed so much free speech in a manner of demonetization, blacklisting, shadow banning, deleting subscribers. A lot of this crazy stuff has actually happened. And, I've been going through a lot of our older videos and descriptions and getting rid of keywords. And unfortunately, videos that should have never been demonetized, such as the video of Luke Radowski and Tim Pool, one of the very early ones, where they have weapons pulled on them by police officers for basically being journalists in a car. That got demonetized probably because it had the word gun in it. They got guns pulled on them. So, I didn't put in for a remonetization. It's an older video. It's got under 100,000 views. It should definitely deserve more. But the bottom line is, we're already being censored. Is this going to be like the epic censorship? And then I see, trolls and morons and probably government paid shills in some of the comment sections applauding this or acting like this was a good thing and blah, blah, blah. That's a lot of horse shit too, folks. You can't be doing that sort of thing. Obviously, I've always preached that violence is not the answer. That's not how we're going to change things. It's not how we're ever going to change things. I'm not saying, and again, it's not like I'm a peacenik. I understand that conflicts happen. I understand why we need to be armed at points, and that's why we're going to wrap up with this story. People will talk about, you're never going to be able to beat the government, but again, one of these older videos that I was going through was Luke with Iced Tea. Great video, great little short video, and he talked about how, well, when the cops give up their guns, that's when I'm going to give up my guns. Forget about the military. It's like the police, they're corrupt. And boy, is he right. Everybody wants to defend police officers, and they want to make it about racial issues and racial injustices. And, here's a group of cops that were in Baltimore. They were robbing homeless people. Let me repeat that. They were robbing homeless people. And they would resell confiscated heroin and ecstasy back onto the streets. Classic corruption. They're probably, taking money and bribes and all that other good stuff too. Here's a look at that gang, a band of gangsters. Look at that, huh? Racial harmony right there. This is what I mean. It's never been to me and a lot of people out there a racial issue. No, it's been a police corruption and brutality issue. You notice what these guys are? They're very diverse. They love working with one another. When they're peddling heroin and ecstasy on the streets while giving you tickets, arresting you, being authoritarians. Oh yeah, and on top of that, hey, let's rob some homeless people. That's great. Great stuff right there. Oh, and folks, it's for that reason that we do shows like this, that we do these broadcasts. We've been stepping up our game. Please hit that like and subscribe button on this channel. Go to the main channel, like and subscribe there. Hit the like button over at the Facebook page. We're doing Periscope now as well. I believe it is We Are Change, New York City. You can link it through our Twitter. I'm new to Periscope. I think we broadcast on it yesterday. I definitely put that stream through. But you're going to see a lot more stuff. We're doing, daily inspirational quote memes by, people like Stanley Kubrick, people like John F. Kennedy. Even, I have a little beam up right now with Woodrow Wilson. And sometimes people who aren't the greatest say some very, very, very great things. And we're going to be highlighting those things, those ideas, on top of more and more original content. So please, folks, help us and be the change you want to see in the world, because when there's corruption like this out there, you have to be, especially if you want to make the world a better place. Thank you all for watching.